guys, this is Katja. Today I'm doing an instructional video on how to create soft waves in the hair. A lot of people at the salon call this the Taylor Swift wave, but we don't have to call it that because that's a little embarrassing. So all you will need today is a soft bristle brush, kind of like a Mason Pearson brush, but it definitely doesn't have to be a Mason. They sell similar brushes at Ricky's, and I'm sure at other stores as well. Then you will need the air control hairspray. Air control is great. It's probably my favorite thing because it does create hold, but it's a soft, pliable hold. You won't feel any kind of resistance in the hair. You'll be able to get your hands through it, but it gives you enough hold that you know that the curl will last throughout the day. Then last but not least, you need your curling iron. I suggest using a 1-inch barrel curling iron, and you can use either a curling iron with a clamp like the one that I'm using today, or I know a lot of people have curl rods and those are fantastic as well. I think the curl rod might be a little bit easier to use at home. They do come with a little glove so you won't burn yourself on the iron, which I think is great. So either one you can use depending on what you have. And if you are using a clamped curling iron, as long as the clamp gets hot, you can keep the clamp closed and wrap your hair around the entire iron, which I think might be easier as well. So now that you have everything you need and your curling iron is heated up, you're going to section your hair kind of as if you were sectioning it to blow dry. The smaller the sections, the smaller curl you're going to get, a little bit more hold, and then the bigger sections that you take, obviously you'll get like a bigger, softer wave. So it's just kind of dependent on the look that you're going for. If you're someone whose hair immediately falls out of curl for whatever reason, then you're going to want to take smaller sections no matter what, just knowing that you can relax the curl enough later. But I think for people who feel like the curl falls out, you always want to start with a little bit tighter. So now saying that, you're going to section your hair out. I always pull the sections to the front of my head just because I have a little bit more control and I can see what's going on. So I'll take a small section and I will wrap it around my curling iron. Depending on what side and what's comfortable for you, you'll have one side that it's easy to curl the hair under the iron, and then one side that's easy to curl over the iron. Which is kind of nice because then on one side you get a bit of a different look than the other. It's not completely uniform. So you want to hold the hair on the iron for just really about 5 seconds. I'm not sure if any of you have seen this video of this poor girl who curls her hair and then her hair burns off because she's holding her hair on the iron for like 30 seconds. I always think it's best to hold it for less time and then evaluate from there because you can always recurl the hair. But you just don't want to damage the hair too much by holding it on the heat. You know, this is another reason why it's good to use the air control, because it does act as a protectant and a barrier between your hair and the heat of the iron. So you want to continue to do this curl. Just let it loose. Don't pull on it too much or anything. You just want to let the hair cool down and set. So you'll just continue to do this all the way up to the top. Now once you get to the top, you'll decide if you want a middle part or a side part. You know, a middle part can look a little softer and more beachy, and a side part I feel like gives more of a Veronica Lake, old Hollywood type of feel. So this will just be dependent on how you want it to look. And when you get to the top, you kind of have to decide, do you want more curl towards the root? Do you kind of want it wavy all throughout? Or do you want it a little like straighter on the top with just curl at the bottom? So if you want more curl at the root, then you're going to put your iron close to the root of your hair and curl it around. If you want a little more straight, you're going to leave it pretty much straight and just curl the very bottoms of the hair, the very ends, just to give it a little bit of wave towards the bottom. And that, again, is totally personal, whatever you feel like you want your style to look like. Now, once you've done that, you can either leave your hair curled this way. It's a little bit more Taylor Swift that way, just curled. I personally like to soften the curl, and that's why we have the Mason Pearson brush. So once it's all set, and make sure that the hair is sprayed and set and nothing's warm. Like, you kind of want to give it a good minute after to let the curls settle and cool before you pull your hands through it or brush it, because you want to make sure everything is set. So now I'm going to take my Mason Pearson brush, flip my head over, and just kind of brush the curl out a bit. Same thing, flip back over and brush it a little. And this just gives a little bit more like finger wavy effect, a little softer. And you can just kind of brush it out as much as you want or as little as you want, or just use your fingers. It's really just dependent on how you feel. Again, if you're someone that curl falls out quite easily, you're going to not really want to put your hands or a brush through it too much, because it will fall naturally. And then at the end, after you've kind of brushed, you can use your spray again to kind of set the curl. Use your hands to manipulate a little bit and kind of find where you want it to be. Again, this takes some practice and some time, so I wouldn't get discouraged. And again, it doesn't look weird if the curls aren't perfect, so you can kind of play around with that as well. So hopefully this helps you guys out at home and enjoy curling.